Hello there, Eagles fans, and welcome back to our Eagles Therapy Podcast. I'm Basil.
And I'm Baz.
And we are recording, Sunday, April 13th, 2025. Dad, it's been a while. Welcome back. How you doing?
Yeah, it's been about 3 weeks, 10 weeks since we won the Super Bowl, so I just wanted to drop that on everyone.
That's for sure.
10 weeks to the day.
Important to note, 10 weeks.
Yeah, it's been well, there hasn't been much going on. It's that lull before the pre-draft stuff, if you will, and then the draft, and then off to the races. So,
it's true. Big thing that we've all kind of been doing. I'm sure all the fans are at home, too, looking at mock drafts all the time, kind of all we got going on. I don't usually create a mock draft. I think I might do one, and then maybe we'll post it on some of the social medias and stuff like that. It's exciting time is once you kind of get to the draft, but for the first month before, you're kind of just like, okay, looking at the same, different mock draft every day. Who are we going to get? So we got a bunch of names that we'll talk about later in the episode. As always, we want to give a shout out to the Eagles Fan Club of Colorado Springs. Hopefully, you're going to be watching the draft together. I think at Rhinos, correct?
Yes.
Rhinos Sports and Spirits here in Colorado Springs on Powers and Barnes. Thank you. Sorry.
Barnes and Powers. Yep.
Barnes and Powers. Rhinos Sports and Spirits. Hope to see you there for the draft.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Bring your new gear.
Definitely.
Like most of us are representing here all the time, our new Super Bowl gear with our little Super Bowl logos. And, I know it's going to be funny because we don't draft till number 32. So I don't think you have to be there an hour before the draft.
Definitely not for a spot or anything. You got some time.
I don't think the spots are going to be taken up. But
I don't think so either.
The good thing is, we can still get together, and it's been a while, and just kind of hang out and do what we do. And hopefully maybe we do trade up. That's the consensus.
We'll see. Yeah, anything can happen on the board. Anything's on the board when you're on the board.
As long as we pick what I'm thinking we need to pick, that's what I want.
And that's what we'll talk about in a second. Yep. Let's get into talking about free agency still, some moves. Really just only a couple things for us. Since we last spoke, no one has left. No more people have left. But we have gotten Kendall Lamb. He's a journeyman tackle. Been a veteran for quite a while. Hopefully he's going to be that swing tackle that we need after losing Fred Johnson. So that's kind of what we're looking for. He's coming from the Miami Dolphins, I believe. So that's a good one. Matt Pryor, another one, former Eagle, coming back. He's got a lot of experience playing guard and tackle. I think he was on the Bears last year, which wasn't a very good offensive line, so you're not really you're not singing too many praises there. But still, two tackles, guys with tackle position, Matt Pryor, guard and tackle position. Good moves. Smart moves, got to have depth.
Matt Pryor, we drafted him, didn't we? Or free agent?
Yeah.
We did draft him, so he's back. We've had him for many years on our...
Was it 2018? I can't remember.
No, I think it's been 20. I think it was 2018. He's been around different teams, but he hasn't been back with us, and he hasn't worked with the guys we have now. And obviously, he hasn't worked with Stout, so that's going to make a big difference. And hopefully, he can come in and kind of get right back where he used to be. He knows a lot of the players that are on the team, or at least some of the guys that were on the team.
Yeah.
So
big dude, man. Offensive tackle, 6'7", 332 pounds.
So when did he leave us?
So he was with us from 18 to 20. So 21 was his first year. He was with the Colts for a few years, San Francisco for a year, and the Bears for a year. And now he's back over here.
That's all right. Like I said, we drafted him, so
He started 6 games for us at right guard back in one of the seasons. He played 3 games at starting right tackle before playing 1 game at left guard. So he's had the experience all around on the offensive line with us, which is good. I'm sure he did kind of when he went to other places. Yeah, right tackle, right guard, left tackle for the Colts. So, it's great to have a guy that can, really do just the versatility. He can play really any position but center. That's just big.
And hopefully, the experience he has will help push with some of the younger guys and, get them on board, whoever we bring in for our free agency and for the draft, and, hopefully lend some of his experience and some of his thoughts. And, you never know. That goes a long way.
Yep. Next guy we picked up just the other day, actually, Terrace Marshall Jr., coming from, I think his last team was with the the Raiders he was on last? Yeah. Drafted by the Panthers, played for the Niners really in the offseason for a year, the Raiders for the year, and then with us now. Journeyman wide receiver. I guess you couldn't really say it. No, second round pick, 59th overall pick.
Yeah, okay.
So late second rounder, played at LSU, notably played at LSU with Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, kind of that number 3 guy to those two amazing players.
Yeah.
Not a great career so far. Ran a 4.40 back then. Still young, 24 years old.
So you're one good year, decent year.
Good size, 6'2", 200 pounds. I mean, it's a smart move. No risk, high reward. I mean, if he ends up being your number 3, if not, he at least competes along with Jahan Dotson and gives everyone a more competition and make everyone better, I guess, And,
that's, you need camp bodies. That's one of the things you always look for, and you always want to get young, so you might as well have somebody in there instead of a 28 or 29-year-old journeyman. I'd rather have a 24-year-old who's been around a little bit, maybe still got a little bit in the tank, and he's mad and he wants to make it. So we'll see what happens.
Worst case scenario, he's not on the team. Best case scenario, he's number 3 wide receiver. Exactly. I mean, there's nothing, nothing hurts you.
Yeah, there've been a lot of those type of moves for us this season. This off season, we've had a lot of those high reward, low risk type players. And
I've come to grips with the fact that the 3rd wide receiver on this team will never ever have a lot of stats. It's just with this team here right now, Dotson kind of is the best it'll ever get.
2 catches in the Super Bowl. 50 yards.
You take it.
You take what you get, and he actually had the biggest early play in the game at that point.
Shot the game open.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at that and go, that's kind of what we're looking for. We want to keep that going. We want to have somebody that we can entrust to at least throw the ball to. If the tight ends aren't open and the 2 guys are being doubled.
Yeah. All right, Dad, let's get into the draft thoughts. This is kind of what we had to talk about really for the episode. I got a couple questions for you. So number 1, so we got 8 picks in the draft, right? First, second, third, fourth, 4 5s. Mm-hmm. So 8 picks in the draft. How many players do you actually think we walk away with? How many picks do you think we actually use to pick a player?
I'm going to say 5. I'm going to say we're going to probably throw a 5th on somebody and move up, and then throw another 5th on another pick and move up.
Okay.
As long as somebody's there. We may trade down in the first round. You don't know, but the consensus is we're trading up maybe to pick up that one player that we really want. And either way, I'm good with it.
Yeah. I think we're going to take – I'm thinking we're going to take 6. So with those 8 picks, I do expect a move up, maybe a move back, and I do think one of those picks is going to become a 3rd rounder for next year.
Right.
I think one of our 5ths and a 4th will be next year's 3rd or something like that.
And that's one of the things, you're coming off the Super Bowl, you got the young team, you want to get young again, can stay young, and you're going to look to the future. So if you can trade down 3 spots, still get the player you want, and pick up somebody else's 3rd next year. I mean, I don't know how many picks we have next year, like 12 or something crazy like that.
So it's going to be it could be 11 or 12. It depends on
the more negotiations you can do, or trading, if you will. So I'm looking forward to it.
Dad, give me the top 3 positions of need you see. Now, we've talked about it on here. We've talked about it off camera. We listen to a lot of Eagles podcasts and everything, so we listen to what they say and we hear it. And
it could change. Could have changed because somebody we picked up recently.
Yeah, but what are your top 3 positions from 3, 2, and 1? So 3rd most needed, 2nd most needed, and the most needed.
So 3rd most needed for me is safety.
Okay.
I want another safety. I mean, we have the DBs. If they grab another DB, that's fine. But, safety's the guy I'm looking for. Number 2 is interior defensive lineman to replace Milton Williams.
Yeah.
Enough said. And the number 1, I think, is an edge. We need an edge. And, of course, there's so many out there. It's a strong year for that type of defensive interior and defensive edge. Yeah. So hopefully we can get somebody who's one of the top 3 or 4 or 5 in their position lists. Yes. 32, and that would be like a steal, And if we do trade down, hopefully we get one of the top 1 or 2 players in their position. Because, that changes as well. The draft never falls into place. And that's one of the reasons I don't mock, is because it's one guy gets picked in
it changes everything.
5 overall, and there goes the whole draft. It's like your March Madness bracket. One team loses and you're out. So
I remember, a few years ago, what was it, man? Was it 2020, I think? Or 21, the Bengals drafted Jamar Chase. Everyone expected them to draft a lineman, and they drafted a wide receiver, and everything shifted. It was like, oh my gosh, Penei Sewell was different. Everything just changed out of nowhere. It was a huge
It's like when you do your fantasy draft, right? All of a sudden you get somebody picks a running back, and now there's a run on running backs. And then there's a tight end picked, and there's a run on tight ends. It's the way it works. Definitely. Luckily, there's no run on kickers early, but you know what I'm saying. That's the way it works. But
I don't want to say I 100% agree. I agree with the top 2. Defensive tackle and then defensive edge I have as the 2 and 1. Number 3, it's kind of a tie. I know I'm doing a cop-out here. I'm going safety and tight end. It's kind of like it's one or the other. The thing about safety, like you said, C.J. Gardner-Johnson's gone. I don't know if the Eagles trust in Sidney Brown. I'd like to see him have a chance, but I'm not the coach, and that's why I'm not a coach. But the thing is, with all the rumors with Dallas Goedert, it doesn't seem very just rumors. It seems like things are really happening, in which case I do think a tight end may come into play in the second round.
Yeah, and they're waiting. That's the problem we have with the position that we're in. We're waiting for after the draft to make these moves that we're talking about, or draft night.
That's the other thing. There's big talks about Justin Simmons. They don't want to sign him before the draft because it changes the comp pick for next year.
You're not going to mess with that because then you can so much you can do with those next year.
Oh yeah, the 2/3 and 2/4 and all that stuff. Yeah, no, absolutely. We'll see what happens after the draft if Justin Simmons is actually on board for the Eagles. I know we kind of talked about in the podcast, but I agree with the top two, defensive tackle and defensive end. It's funny. Some people don't view it like that. We've seen a lot of mock drafts out there saying that think they're going to take the tackle for the future.
Offensive tackle, yes.
And I'm just kind of like, I don't know. We just extended Lane to where he's got 3 years now.
3 years.
And I'm just kind of like, I don't know if you're going to draft his replacement, you would do it next year. Like you would do it the year before his last year. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
This is too early, it seems.
That's the whole method of the way Howie Roseman drafts. It's interior linemen, it's offensive tackles. That's what he does. But in this particular case, I kept bringing it up to you that the year that they drafted Jordan Love up in Green Bay, Rodgers and the team was close.
Yeah, it's good.
And they draft the backup quarterback who's not going to play for 2 or 3 or who knows years. And, you're looking at, I need a wide receiver. I need a safe. I need something. And to take somebody that you already have. I mean, yeah, the rich can get richer, but if a guy's not playing for 2 or 3 years, we want to repeat. We want to go back stronger than we were last year. We want to replace the pieces that we missed.
I get it. Yeah. Yeah, the big talk with the tackle thing is, of course, you draft a guy who can play right guard until he needs to be tackle, and I get that. That's it's a clever concept. It makes sense. I'm not bashing the idea of it. It makes a lot of sense. I just feel like it's not what we really need right now. Yeah. I think you have these guards in the room, in the building. You just got Matt Pryor, but the big one, Tyler Steen. You got
he's a draft pick from 2 years ago.
Yeah, Kenyon Green, and then you got Matt Pryor now to compete at that right guard spot. I'm not saying any one of them will have it or should have it or deserve or anything like that. But you also have the drafts. You have the 3rd round picks. You got 4 or 5s. I mean that's where you get some linemen.
Exactly. That's where a lot of these guys, and through the years, if you look back and you follow some of the old drafts and look in the 5th round and just see some of the players that have made it from there. The other thing I want to say, and this always bothers me when they say, put the guy as a guard and then push him out the tackle when the guy retires. How many times can you tell me that that's happened? And let's go back to this past Super Bowl, which I love talking about the Super Bowl that just passed. You had that left guard from Kansas City, Thuney.
Yes.
All world.
Yep.
What did they do?
They
pushed him out the left tackle, and he got his butt handed to him, not once, not twice, by our rookie. To me, that's a concept that just stop with that. It's like saying, let's put him on the practice squad, and in 2 years he'll be that's so little. That happens so little. We researched it.
Yeah.
It's very, very small.
We're not going to put it on the practice squad, but yes.
No, let's just get a guy that we can, you know what I'm saying.
Yes, I understand.
You get to hear that too well. You could put these guys, the practice squad, how many times do these players make it?
Yeah.
Very, very rarely. Yeah. Let's just get a guard. We want a guard? Get a guard.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
I agree.
You need a tackle to replace Lane in 3 years? Get a tackle. Let's change the positions. Now look at what happened with us with Cam and Dickerson, who was the center, right?
Yeah, Dickerson was drafted kind of to be the replacement for Kelsey. And then he was too good at left guard. Yes. And it was like, we can't take him away.
Yeah.
So now we got to draft a center.
Now that worked, but he's a huge guy, and usually your center's not that big a guy. But you know what I'm saying? Let's just stick to the path. Let's not change it up.
It's the same thing with Lane Johnson. I mean, they drafted him to be the successor to Jason Peters. He was too good at right tackle. We could not move him. It's too good. He's too good. You can't mess it up. So that's the thing. You talk about, you could draft that right tackle that right guard in the 1st round who maybe one day you want him to be the tackle. Well, then he ends up being a great guard, which, hey, it'll still work out. But you don't really want to get a guard in the 1st round. It's not that the guard is not a premium position in the NFL. You really don't want to have a 1st round pick that you're like paying all this money to, and he's playing right guard because he's great.
That's one of the reasons they let Mekhi Becton go. That's why they didn't re-sign him for $14-15 million. Because, we'll roll the dice and take – I hate to say take your chances on a guard, but, we've drafted guards in the past who didn't make it, but, that's just the risk you got to take.
Fireman Fireman Danny Watkins. Let's don't get Rube started.
Get a guy in his early 20s too. Let's not pick somebody that's pushing 30.
That'll never happen again. Yeah.
No, not in our team, that's for sure.
No, I'm with you. Defensive end position is really what I'm looking at, the edge position. I got some names here. You okay with us going over it? I think you have a list.
I got a little list here.
I'm just going to go kind of 1 through 6. I got 6 names. This isn't really my order of players, but I still want to just have it this way based off mock drafts and everything. I'm leaving off Abdul Carter, of course, because that's literally impossible. As much as we would love that as Eagles fans and Penn State fans, not going to happen. But Mikael Williams, he shows up really early in a lot of people's drafts, usually within the top 12 to 15. PFF has him ranked incredibly low. I was surprised. Number 38 on their big board. And he's like the 5th edge rusher on there. Well, what you got on Mikael Williams?
Mikael Williams, on my actual list, it says he is the 25th best player to be picked.
Gotcha.
This is CBS Sports, so again, you got 18.
The
thing I like about Mikael Williams is not only did he play for Georgia. We love our dogs. He's 6'5", 265, 275 type defensive end, and you were talked about it earlier, and I don't know if it was on the podcast or not, but, there's the number 2 guy over here, Jalen Walker. He's 6'1", 243. So you got kind of a Slim Shady type defensive end, right?
Yes.
Thinner, kind of Nolan Smithish, super fast, can make the turn. But we were wanting somebody that can kind of replace BG, who was more of your stout, strong, little bit heavier, especially as his career went on. And from what I've read about Mikael Williams, he is a real good run stopper. Now, of course, it's too much work to try and do the bio on every one of these players.
Yes,
so I just picked some that I thought would be kind of maybe fall to us, or we can kind of move up 5 or 6 spots to get him and throw a 5th at him, a number 1 and a 5th. So, I like Mikael Williams. He's one of the guys I'd really like. There's the other guy, too, that you talked about.
My next player I have is James Pierce. This is the one I see coming to us really more than anyone. This is the guy from Tennessee. James Pierce, kind of a, not huge, but a bigger dude.
6'5".
Yeah, 6'5".
245. So he's probably another one of your, especially at 6'5", that he's pretty, at 245, he's kind of thin.
Lanky.
Very lean. I don't want to say thin, but again, it's not like I'm going to tell you his arm length, but I did read that Mikael Williams did have like an 81 reach, which is longer than one of the other guys I looked at who had a 76. I think that was Scourton or whatever. But go ahead.
So James Pierce, he's the one I see coming to us the most, really, as far as edges. It seems like he will be down that area. PFF does have him ranked as the 23rd best player in the draft.
I got 18 over here.
18 over here. And I think they have him as the 4th edge. We're not even mentioning Abdul Carter. The 3rd edge, aside from Abdul Carter.
I got 4 on my list as well.
So. Gotcha. So he's in that range. Top 5 really is kind of a consensus there out of Tennessee. I'm a little hesitant on Tennessee defensive ends. That's where Derek Barnett went, of course.
Yes.
Obviously, that's where Reggie White went, too. So maybe it's a...
Yeah, we don't want to draw that correlation.
That's the thing. I got tired of that.
I mean, that's another thing, too, that you hear about this, the players and the teams they play for. Some of the things will tell you, he's weak in this or weak in that. And, again, you can't really look at that because, like I say, some of the players we've drafted who broke player sack records and then they really didn't become that player. So, I mean, to me, it's you don't know. You might get a guy like from Temple who's a 5th round pick who gets you 10 sacks.
Yes.
So he's just got to, but I would like to see us go down and get one of those top 5 ranked, if you will, guys.
Next name on the list, Shamar Stewart, another one who's come to us a few times out of Texas A&M. 6'5", 267. I love this guy's size.
He's the one I think I saw was 285 on one of the.
Yeah, I don't know.
So who knows what the weight goes, but like again, he's that guy that's I don't really want a Slim Shady Reaper type guy. I want a bigger tight defensive end who can push some linemen back and wear those guys down. So then we swip Nolan Smith over there later in the game, and he just runs around him and gets some strip sacks.
Exactly. Well, here's the next one for you. Nick Scourton, his buddy Shamar Stewart's other defensive end on the other side, 6'3", 257. I like this size a lot too.
Yeah, he's a little bit smaller, but again, hopefully he's rangy or whatever, and can get around. Has the speed. That's the difference. You got the big guy who can push, and the other guy is just kind of a speed rusher who can get around. And either way works for us as long as they can play.
Yep. And then the last one I have, Donovan E. I think we mentioned him before. I'm not going to pronounce.
So has he been dropping, or is he not dropping?
No, he's just kind of hangs out in that late, fringe first round, fringe second round.
Yeah, I got here 42 overall, so that's pretty far down the list.
Yeah, on here, PFF's got him at 16th.
That's the difference. Like, what do you know? Like, how are you going to do that?
I don't know.
That's where you need. I don't even know if the Eagles pulled any of these guys in and spoke with them, because that probably would be your indicator that they want to know what kind of player he is, type of person he is, type thing.
The big thing about Donovan, he played at Boston College, so he was already a Boston College Eagle. And before that, born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, grew up in Williamstown, New Jersey.
Nice.
So I wonder if they might like this guy. 6'2", 248, still a little bit smaller, pretty fast guy around the edge. But as we've talked about already and said, but we have that Nolan Smith, Bryce Huff. Hopefully that continues to work out. Those faster guys. Jalix Hunt's kind of both-ish, but I do want, like you talked about, we want that BG, bigger dude who can dominate a tackle.
Run defender.
Exactly.
Knock an offensive line. Kind of like in the Super Bowl when Nolan Smith, who's not a big guy, knocked their linebacker or their left tackle into the play, and Ojomo was able to make the tackle in 2 seconds.
Yes,
it was
great.
A beautiful play.
Let's go to defensive tackle. I only have one name written here because this is the big name that everything seems to have going to us. I've seen at least 15 different mock drafts having going to us. Defensive tackle from Ole Miss, Walter Nolan.
Okay, that's the name I've heard now.
Yeah.
A lot. I got him here on this one. It says 17 overall, 6'4", 296. So you're talking a bigger defensive lineman, which we need. That same guy that's going to work hand in hand with Davis and, do the run stuff. And hopefully this guy's got some sack attacks,
That's the other big thing about him, yes. In his senior year, this is high school, I know, it's different. 17 sacks his senior year, so he definitely has the ability to get to the quarterback. In college, only 5 sacks in his first 2 years at Texas A&M, went to Ole Miss, had 6.5 sacks there. So definitely is able to do both those things, run stop and pass rush. Right. 11.5 sacks in 3 seasons. And, college stats are always kind of weird. It never correlates, it never translates to the NFL. We never really know the numbers. But no, this guy is consensus top defensive tackle, like top 2-3 at his position. You said 16 overall?
17 overall is what they got him here.
PFF's got him at 8.
Yeah, see, like I say, that's the name I've heard talked about. Again, I don't know if anyone has any information that they brought him in as one of their 30 guys they can interview, but that might tip off something about how they're – but somebody that low, you're going to have to make a pretty drastic change and move, and I don't know how much we want to do that this year as far as, trading up and losing a couple of those picks that –
True.
Again, if you can get that top echelon guy, it's only going to work out in our favor. But at the same time, there's a few other holes we'd like to fill and maybe start putting some people in places that maybe push some of the younger guys.
Yep. That's all I have for defensive tackle. Anybody else you want to mention?
I'm looking at the list. Not really. There's a couple guys like this one guy from Ohio State, 6'3", 334, Tyselk Williams, another Williams. Okay. So if we get throw Williams there, we just throw 93 on the shirt and get him back out there.
Tyleik Williams,
Yeah, but he's 51 overall. So, that's the thing about this draft. They said it's a very deep defensive line, defensive edge, which is really perfect for us because that's what we lost in the free agency. We lost defensive linemen.
Yep.
So, it's perfect. It's like if it was a good quarterback draft, it wouldn't help us. But the fact that they have this, we can do some wheeling and dealing. Some of these other teams maybe not need those positions, and we can kind of use it at our advantage. So we'll see what happens.
The only problem I'm seeing is that towards the bottom of the draft, across from us, with us in our conference even, Washington and Detroit, both teams really going to be looking for an edge. Right. So that's where we're kind of that's where we're kind of going to be scared. That's what worries me about the sense that they might take a tackle or a guard or whatever, because I think that they might get to the point where so many ends are taken or not even so many, but too many to their liking that they don't value the next guy up until the second round.
But you got to remember, Washington, they lost a really good linebacker. They lost Jeremy Chin, right defensive back. So they're going to need to fill in those spots too if they want to stay competitive with us. Because like I said, we're solid.
Who was the lineman they lost?
I think he was a guy that played with another team, and then they brought him in, who was drafted by I forget his name.
Okay.
He's a big lineman, though.
I couldn't remember his name. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. Okay, let's talk about the tackles since we mentioned them. Two names I see a lot going to us, even though we don't want to draft these guys right now. Josh Connerly, that's the one out of Oregon. I'm sure you've come across his name.
Yes.
And then Gray Zabel out of North Dakota State.
Okay.
I don't know if North Dakota State's ever going to be drafted in the first round again.
Yeah,
And what's that other guy's name?
Trey Lance.
Yeah, they ruined that.
They did.
They really ruined that. Or were they South Dakota?
No, they were North Dakota State.
They really ruined that. They really ruined that school's draft prospect for the future.
They did.
It's tough. It's a bummer.
Let's see. So I'm looking for there's the best offensive tackle, Will Campbell.
Yeah, short arms they call him.
Yeah, and then you got Armand Membu.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know, coming down to us is mostly going to be Connerly or Gray Zabel. That's the biggest one.
And that's the way you got to do it. You can't be picking the top one or second or first or second guy listed in their position. You got to drop back. So, I mean, that's why we're doing it. People might say, well, what are you doing that for? But, that's in reality here. We just want to take our number one and maybe throw a fifth and move up 5 spots or something like that. And, we don't want to sell the farm just to get a guy.
Yeah. Let's talk about safety. A couple safety names that kind of came to us. Number one, you see Malachi Starks from Georgia. You've obviously heard of this guy because he's from Georgia. Really good player. He's ranked as the 9th best player from PFF. So I just don't know if there's a few mocks that had him going to us, but I just don't see it happening.
Well, I'm looking for. Oh wow, this particular sheet has him way up there.
Okay, what number?
Way early. Well, it looks like. It's not numbered that way.
Oh, okay.
Number 1. It looks like number 1.
Really?
2, 3, 4. Yeah. So over here, they got Starks as the number 1 guy, 6'1", 197. So, yeah, right there, and that's the numbers right there.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what they got.
No way.
Next guy's 20. Yeah, it's hard to read that list, but
interesting. That's weird.
Yeah. So yeah,
got him here on PFF as number 9. I see you have Kevin Winston on there as well, out of Penn State. That's a fun one. Really good player. He's rated as the 29th player by PFF. So
this is 57. No, it says it's the 3rd best safety.
Yes,
but that's just the way it works. I mean,
and then another one I see a lot of is Nick Emenwari from South Carolina.
Okay, they got him as 20th, and he's number 2. So again, lists and things like that.
It's all different. Yeah.
But even here, if you look back, if you drop back, I mean, we're talking. We got guys Xavier Watts, Makuba, Sanker. These guys 77, 102, 118. So the opportunity for us to draft in that 2nd or 3rd round is good.
Ooh, maybe a Shiloh Sanders.
Oh yeah, he's out there.
That, huh?
I was reading about him too.
They have him as 296th. Pretty low on the safety board, but if we're not picking in the first, if we're picking a safety maybe in the 4th round, 3rd round, interesting. You think a little Shiloh Sanders in Philly?
Yeah, well, I mean,
that's an interesting one.
And then I know he's got the speed. I know I was watching a little blurb where they were comparing the quarterback guy Shador to his dad, and then the other guy to his dad.
Yes,
Shiloh, and they were saying that Shiloh is more like his father than Shador, where size and speed and things like that. So, hey man, it's a good pedigree, right?
A lot of controversy with him though, so I don't know. But
6
foot 195. I don't love the size. Sorry. Now we're talking about Shiloh.
That's okay. Some speed,
but it's 4.52 40-yard dash.
Not killer speed.
I don't like that he's 25 years old.
Well, yeah, that's one of the. That's you're out.
That's not happening.
That's me.
Let's end that conversation.
I agree, but like I say, there's so many, and like we were talking earlier, that's my 3rd neatest position for the Eagles this year. So I'd love to see him grab a
3rd round, 4th round,
grab a safety somewhere in there to not only push but his feet.
Unless you get Malachi Starks, but that's
like I say, this guy they've got him pretty high up here.
And then let's talk about tight end. I pulled up a mock draft while I was at work the other day, and I'm scrolling down. It's got the same group, say Cam Ward, this guy. It's the same, across the first 10 picks are mostly the same guys. But then I got to us, Mason Taylor. Interesting one. I don't know if you've heard his name. Mason Taylor from LSU. Father, Jason Taylor.
Oh, yeah, I did see that.
Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Yep.
So this particular clip that I watched was comparing the present-day player in college to his father. And they mentioned Taylor as well.
Yep, gotcha.
Cool. Just a little thing on him.
Yeah, I was surprised to see him going to us. I don't think he's going to be anywhere that early. He is considered like one of the top tight ends, in the draft, but I don't see him being that.
This here in particular says fourth overall tight end. 65 is where they put him overall top players. So
similar here. This has fourth overall tight end, 76th. So
again, that's another position you mentioned.
It's in the works.
Yeah, and so hopefully they can do something there. But there's a lot of good ones out there. I don't know all their statistics. I just see their size and what we really are looking for. I think is a tight end that can make some catches but can block. We want a big time blocker just to keep this running train that we have going. And but you definitely need a tight end that can get out there, especially when they start playing tight.
More tight ends I have on my list kind of that I'm interested in. This, of course, I'm not looking for a tight end in the first round, really. This is more so looking for like maybe the third or fourth round even. Gunnar Helm out of Texas. Pardon me, 1 second, sorry.
That's right. Yep, 6'5", 241. This particularly has him at 105 overall.
Okay.
7th overall tight end.
That's great size.
Big school, though. Texas, that's what you want.
Definitely. And the other one I have is Mitchell Evans, tight end out of Notre Dame.
Okay.
And you got a size there?
You're 6'5", 258. So you're talking, it's like every one of those tight ends is either 6'6" or 6'5".
That's hilarious. I know.
There's only like a few 6'4s and only a few 6'4s. So, and the tight end position has really changed a lot in college in the last, I would say, 5 years, where they're more almost like wide receiver types, the good ones, the really good ones.
Yes.
And, that's something we could use, but, the guy we have is going to need to be able to block and get in the trenches and hit. So.
Yeah. And I'm going to throw one more tight end at you. This one, a little bit of a smaller guy, Benjamin Yurosek from Georgia. 6'4", 245 pounds.
So right here, they got him as the 10th overall and about 185th best player available. Yeah. Of course, that throws out the window. So
yes,
you need a tight end, you go get that guy. So
not a great amount of statistics for this guy. Like we said, stats don't always translate from college to the pros, especially tight end. Yeah. You feel like you look at some of the best tight end statistics in college, you're like, oh, how'd they know he was going to be good? He never got the ball.
Well, I always go back to like Mike Gesicki, who we thought was going to come in the NFL and just blow it up. And, he's been good, but he hasn't been 80 catch, kind of like a Gronk type guy, who's just taken over a team. So,
yeah. So, Dad, if you had a bet right now, I know you're not a betting man. If you had a bet right now, I'm not going to ask player because that's just too much. What position do they draft at 32? Sorry. If they draft at 32, what position do they draft?
I still think at 32 they're going to get a defensive end.
Okay.
That's really, I think it's pedal to the metal with that, unless the top 10 are all taken. But
that's the problem.
I don't think that's going to happen, and I really do think they're going to try and move down into the 22 to 25 range, hopefully, because otherwise we'll be watching the draft and be there for 3 hours before we get a pick.
It's hard for Howie to sit there. That's what worries me about the draft parties and stuff like that. I'm like, what if we trade it away and we don't draft in the first round? Oh, that'd be terrible. But it's going to be an exciting day. I always love draft day. Got to watch the movie soon. Get ready for that. Great movie. I agree with you. I think we're going to take a defensive end.
Right.
If we don't take a defensive end, we take defensive tackle. If you don't take tackle, I think they do take an offensive lineman. But no, I think you take an end. I agree with you there.
Yeah. I mean, really, that's the whole thing. You got to watch the draft to see how it shakes out. Oh, 3 quarterbacks taken in the first 5 picks. And it's funny because the last 2 drafts that we've watched together as a group, we're watching going, oh, yeah, it's like, they're taking players. We don't need that. Take it. Yeah. And then we want this team to take that player, and that makes the fun of it,
Yes.
And we got
last year
Carter a couple years ago, and he fell.
Trade up to 10.
Right? And then
last year was insane. I just, like I said, we did last year we did the draft and we talked about, guys will pick and everything. Right. We knew we were taking defensive back. We didn't even mention Quignon because we thought he'd be a 9th overall pick, 10th overall pick. We were like,
it's because Rico kept saying, we're going to get Quignon. I'm like, he's going to go number 8, 10, 12.
Yeah.
And then every time, it was in the 5th, I looked over at him. Yeah. Well, he's fallen to us, man, and he did. And,
it came into play. It was great. It worked out really well.
And, of course, Coop, the same thing. We didn't really know much about that situation. But if you watch some of the video clips now on YouTube about them guys just holding their breath and nobody took them, it was really fun to watch.
It's a great video.
Fun to watch.
All right, I got something fun for you, Dad. I made a list.
Okay.
This is off topic. This isn't about the draft. I made a list. I made a list of, we're 25 years into the century.
Gotcha.
So I made a list since 2000, since the Super Bowl 2000 to 2001 season to now, 25 years of success. And I kind of went through, I did some research, studied up on the 5 most successful teams in each conference. Okay, so this is not the 10 most successful because there might be one in the AFC more successful. 6th one's maybe better than the first one. I don't know, whatever. But I just did the 5 most successful teams of the last 25 years in each conference. Do you want to start with the AFC because it's going to be the boring one? Because it's pretty easy.
Yeah. Let me guess. Yeah.
So the most successful team in the AFC is also the most successful team in the NFL in the last 25 years. The Patriots, 6 Super Bowls, 10 Super Bowl appearances, 13 conference championship appearances.
Crazy.
It's insane.
AFC championships.
So 25 divided by 2, what's that?
Man, that's 12 and a half.
Yeah, so they went to 13, so they went to half. Yeah,
50%.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Number 2, also boring. It's obvious. The Kansas City Chiefs. 3 Super Bowl wins. 5 Super Bowl appearances, 7 conference championship appearances.
And that's really drawing the last 7 or 8.
It's the Mahomes. It's literally, you could just put Patrick Mahomes in
The era, yeah, that's amazing.
Number 3 in the AFC, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay.
Surprises you kind of?
2 Super Bowls.
2 Super Bowl wins.
Not really. They were strong in the early 2000s with Big Ben. And then in the mid 2000s, they kind of weren't so successful.
Yeah.
And then
in the 2010s, they kept getting to like the big names but not winning them.
Yes.
Yeah. So 2 Super Bowl wins, 3 appearances.
That's good.
6 conference championship appearances.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. And of course they were always going against the Patriots or
Correct.
Jacksonville, which is kind of funny, but
Yeah.
they had a few times in there. They were pretty awesome.
Baltimore Ravens, number 4.
Okay.
Similar to the Pittsburgh Steelers ahead, 2 Super Bowls, 2 Super Bowl appearances, 5 conference championship appearances. Now, obviously, I'm rating this off of if you win a Super Bowl, you are more successful than the other one.
It's heavily weighted.
Correct. I should make a point system.
That's okay.
A Super Bowl's 5 points. A conference championship wins this many points.
I remember when you were talking about it a few months ago. That's what we kind of came up with was
Correct.
Super Bowls override, and then your conference championships.
Yes. If you've been to 12 conference championships, but this team won 1 Super Bowl, they are more successful.
Winning the division doesn't really give you much extra. It's just that being in that AFC, NFC championship game.
Yeah. Number 5, this one was weird because it's kind of the exact same. It's a tie.
So what, you got Pats, KC, Baltimore,
Pittsburgh above Baltimore.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Pittsburgh, Baltimore. And then number 5 is it's actually 2 teams, but I will let you know which one's better. It's the Manning Colts and the Manning Broncos.
Right.
It's Manning.
Yeah.
So with the Colts, 1 Super Bowl win, 2 Super Bowl appearances. With the Broncos, 1 Super Bowl win, 2 Super Bowl appearances. However, with the Colts, he did go to 3 AFC championship games, whereas I believe with the Broncos, he only went to 2. So it is a little bit weighted towards the Colts. So they do get the nod ahead of the Broncos, but it was a tough little thing there.
Yeah, and the Broncos, well, you all know how that went, where he wasn't even really the starter the year they won the Super Bowl. He kind of came in after the big tall guy, Osweiler, brought him to there, and they were just bad that year. They just happened to have a fantastic defense.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, let's go to the NFC.
All right.
Let's go 5-1 here. We're going to go the opposite way.
Gotcha.
I don't want to say least successful. Least successful of the 5 to the number 1. Number 5, the Green Bay Packers. 1 Super Bowl, 1 Super Bowl appearance, 6 conference championship appearances. That's Rodgers.
Yeah, I get you, and that's a tough one because you say 6 NFC championship games.
Correct.
Only won 1.
Only won 1.
Yeah, that's bad. And when
it's not all Rodgers. Early 2000 was Favre, so I mean, but for the most part, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a tough one. But you're right, that's where they should be.
Yes. Seattle Seahawks, 1 Super Bowl win, 3 Super Bowl appearances. You kind of forget. They went to 3 Super Bowls in the last 25 years, and 3 conference championship appearances.
Yeah, they went to the Super Bowl against Pittsburgh back in 2004, 5.
5.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and correct. It's funny. They've won every conference championship they've been to. They've won. So they if they go, they're going. Super Bowl. Number 3, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 2 Super Bowl wins.
Can I boo?
Yeah, go ahead. 2 Super Bowl appearances, 2 conference championship appearances. 2 for 2.
Yep, 2 for 2. That's another one.
And then funny enough, the New York Giants at number 2. 2 Super Bowl wins, 3 Super Bowl appearances, 3 conference championship appearances. So again, 3 for 3.
Yeah.
They went in 2001. They went 2000. They went and lost to the Ravens.
Got rolled in the Super Bowl.
And Manning's 2 wins.
Yeah, against the Pats.
And the number one, without a doubt, never a shot. No one else had a chance. It's the Philadelphia Eagles.
4 Super Bowls.
2 Super Bowl wins, 4 Super Bowl appearances, 8 conference championship appearances.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yep. So the Eagles.
So wait, how many? No, okay, go ahead.
The Eagles are the most successful NFC franchise in the last 25 years.
Wow.
You're welcome. I'm 27, so you're welcome.
That makes it. Yeah, that makes it.
Yeah. No, so it's pretty cool to say. With all the research I did, the Eagles are the best. They're the best team in the conference the last 25 years.
It makes sense. I mean, you count Super Bowls and the NFC Championship games.
And they're technically the 3rd most successful in the entire NFL.
Right.
Because it would be the Patriots, the Chiefs.
Right.
And then we have the same amount of Super Bowls as the Steelers, 1 more appearance, 2 more conference championship appearances. Right. So technically a better. Right.
And then the number 2 team is the Super Bowl. We were just in. We played against the Chiefs.
Yeah, and we just beat them.
Yeah, so that's,
Yeah. So over the last year, we're the most successful. Over the last 1 year, we are the most successful franchise in the NFL.
That's right. And second most in the overall.
Yeah. I mean, and the 20. Well, so would you say in the 2020s, we're the second? I mean, the Chiefs have won, the Rams have won, but we've been to 2, so we're the second most successful in the 2020s.
On the Chiefs.
Yes. Fun little thing. I had a good time doing it.
You did that, and I like the way you weighted it, so it's not it's your opinion. No, it's not your opinion. It's facts. Yeah. You're looking at,
the Super Bowl win is more.
Yes.
The Super Bowl appearance is next, and then the conference championship is next.
Yes.
Yeah. It's very nice.
8 NFC championship games. That's crazy.
I should probably break down playoff appearances as well, but that would be probably way convoluted.
And you could probably get but any of the teams that are in the top are going to be there anyway.
Correct. Yes.
Wild card, how many playoff wins they've had.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because if you've been to 7, if you're the Steelers, you've been to 6 conference championship appearances. I mean, unless you're the first seed, which you're winning 2 playoff games every time you did that.
I mean, it's funny because this year we won 4 playoff games.
It is wild,
including the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Normally, that's not the way it would work. You would win 2 or 3. You'd have the bye, and then you'd go to the conference championship win and go to the Super Bowl and win. So it's kind of, and that's where we get that playoff. Most wins in a season type record that we did this year.
Yeah, it's a bummer. So another thing I had to ask you, this just came on my mind. I didn't plan this at all. Recently, I was I really enjoy going to Pro Football, Pro Football Reference page. Okay. Pro Football Reference. It's got all the stats and everything like that. They have a ranking of best teams. It was the best Super Bowl winning teams, I think it was the NFL teams of all time. Yeah, let me see. I got that right here. I can't remember if it was Super Bowl winning teams or I don't know. It was one of those, but it was the 100 best teams. Here it is. Yeah, it was 100 teams in 100 years. So it was like they did it at the 100-year mark a couple of years ago.
Each season?
Yeah, they did. They just did, like season by season.
Gotcha.
The team of that season.
So Miami 14-0 was number 1.
Correct, exactly. So I wondered, I don't know when they'll do the rankings and they'll do an updated one and everything like that.
Right.
Where do the 2024 Eagles belong on here?
Probably top 6.
Yeah?
And I'm just throwing it out there because I know off the top of my head without even thinking, the 49ers, what 14-3, one of those years are 15-2. Mm-hmm. Then you got the Bears in 85 who were 15-1.
Yep.
Of course, 14-0.
Yeah, the 84 Niners were 15-1. The Steelers in 78 were 14-2.
Right.
San Francisco were 14-2 in 89. Cowboys in 92 were 13-3. They have them.
Right.
Mostly every team on here does win the championship, except, of course, the 2007 Patriots.
So I would say like 6th or 7th. You got to remember the Pats were also undefeated till they got to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The Cowboys 13-3. We were 14-3 this year, so I think we would up that.
Correct.
Plus we won 4 playoff games. I bet they only won 2 or 3.
Plus you won the Super Bowl with literally just destruction.
Right. That's kind of where I would,
maybe they did too. It's
and who you played. There's never been a Super Bowl champ that stopped the other team from winning 3 in a row. So that's right there. That's weighted. Right?
Yeah.
and then some of those blowouts, some of those teams had, like the Raiders in 2000 and the Cowboys in 94, 5, whatever, winning 49-10 and things like that. So you'd have to weigh it there too as well. But, you could look at how many how many points they scored maybe, and where was their offense and defense ranked. So you'd have to really get into it. But I'd say we're definitely top 10. And, it's kind of unfair because the Giants, when they – and who you played. Like when the Bears played the Patriots in 85, they were, 15-point underdogs. Like they knew. And the first 5 minutes of the game, you could tell the Patriots were not going to even move the ball at all. Like they finished this game, something to 3. I forget. It was just an embarrassing same year. So anyway –
I agree with you. I think top 10. I think you'd go up to 6, like 5 or 6. You tie the record for most wins in a season, 18. And this all came about because I was talking with my friend at work, and I kind of mentioned, throughout the season you make that joke like if Saquon caught it, we would have won against Atlanta.
Right.
Devontae, if he caught it in Washington, we would have won then.
Right.
And it kind of made me think, it's like, man, it's kind of a bummer. We were 2 drops away from being the greatest team of all time. It's 20 wins. Right. 20 wins. Right. That's the greatest team of all time. Yeah. So I was like, so do you take that into account? Because if you measured that with those things, you're probably number 5, number 4.
Yeah, it's true. But like I say, I don't want to disrespect any of the older teams that did it when they did it.
I know.
And of course, we also talk about, the Super Bowl era, of course. And of course, the 72 Dolphins, that's a long time ago now. It's 50-plus years. So, but they were undefeated, and that you got to, and they also had 2 quarterbacks. They changed quarterbacks in the playoff, which is crazy. But
3 running backs.
Yeah, it's just nuts. But to really weigh it, you'd have to really sit down and say, well, who scored the most points in the playoffs? Who scored the most points in the regular season? Who let up less points? That kind of stuff.
Yeah. We know CBS Sports, of course, back when we won the Super Bowl a couple of months ago. 13 weeks ago, you said?
10 weeks. Sorry, 10 weeks.
We won the Super Bowl 10 weeks ago in absolute amazing fashion. CBS Sports had us listed as the number 1. Had us as the best Super Bowl winning team in the last 25 years.
That's probably in there.
I would agree with that. Super Bowl winning team.
Right.
Right. I would agree.
But again, you'd have to go into who did they play when the Giants won both of their Super Bowls recently? They had to beat one of the best teams ever, right? Best coaching, quarterback thing. So you'd look at that.
They went 9-7 in the regular season. It's
right.
It's way it's time.
It's true.
You got anything else, my friend?
Just the only thing we didn't talk about was Jordan Davis deal.
Yeah, I don't think it's big enough news. Okay. I'm sorry. Do we want the big news? Is should we?
Not till May 1st, so you're only talking another couple of weeks.
Yeah, should they renew or should they pick up his 5th-year option? I don't know. I don't really care what they do.
I say it's not even a thing. They're definitely going to re-sign it.
Yeah, I don't care how they do it. They just do it. Do what you have to do. Re-sign him. I don't. You have to keep him. I agree. That's just I agree. All right. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. If you like our Eagles Therapy podcast, do us a favor, rate and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Comment down below your thoughts on the draft. We'll have a couple more, maybe 1 or 2 more episodes coming out before we do the draft, hopefully. You can email us your questions at oureaglestherapy@gmail.com. But other than that, from all of us here at Our Eagles Therapy Podcast, I'm Basil.
And I'm Baz.
Go Birds.
Fly, Eagles, fly.